Hi everyone and welcome to today's video. Today I'm going to be going through how I do my bokeh backgrounds with a coloured pencil. So the first thing is I'm using the Caran D'Ache Museum aquarelle pencils and the paper is rowney Aquafine hot pressed paper. So very sorry to say that I unfortunately forgot to press record on the first part of this tutorial, so that's why the left half of the background is like kind of half done, or at least a work in progress. So yeah, sorry about that, but I'll kind of go through the process anyway and explain how that works. Okay, so I started with kind of a light layer of dark olive and light olive 40%. I also used chromium oxide green and I think a little bit of brown olive 50%, just to kind of get that rough base down. As you can see, I left some areas white, and this is where kind of the really bright highlight for the bokeh and the lighting was going to come through. And then I'm going again, I think it was with a dark grey and I think a dark olive and olive brown. And then just kind of going over those areas, and again you can see I'm leaving little circle spaces so that the green colour can come through. So these are kind of just lighter parts of the bokeh. And then I'm using the steel grey, to kind of lighten up certain areas and make it a little bit more of like a nice cool grey highlight. And I'm darkening it up with the Castle Earth and raw umber, as well as dark cyanine green, I can never say that word, and the moss green pencil. So these are all water soluble if you've not already seen. I do kind of a couple layers and then wet them down, and that just kind of blends all the colours together, makes it really nice and smooth, because otherwise I find it looks really textured and that's just not the look that I'm going for. And then again I'm using light flesh with a little bit of saffron, Naples ochre and white, as you can see, just to do the little highlights and kind of really pull those through on the piece. So what I absolutely love about these pencils is the white works so beautifully over the dark. So do the other light colours, to be fair. You really can get really crisp kind of look. You can see white circles over the dark areas. So that's why I love these. Yeah, because you can just get really nice highlights over dark parts. So here I'm just taking the light flesh and saffron pencil and just kind of doing the same thing I did on the left with the green, but with these lighter colours. This is where the sun is really shining, where it's a really bright kind of bokeh. And then as you can see, again blending with water. I also used a little bit of burnt sienna 50%. And then kind of blending those edges together using the sepia 50% and sepia 10%. As you can see, kind of just adding little dark areas where trees and other certain things are coming through on this really light area. So I really like to try and keep the white paper showing through where possible, because although the white pencil is absolutely beautiful, it is so much easier to keep the white really nice and crisp and clean and bright if I use the white paper rather than the pencil. And again, just adding kind of little bits in there just to blend that light into the dark a little bit more, using the burnt sienna 50%, terracotta, some of the grey colours, again some Castle Earth, and then blending them with water. Again, trying to make sure I leave space for the white to show through, not working it all the way in, and then going over it with the white pencil just to kind of blend the two together and really soften the edges. And then you can see I'm going all across the kind of white a bit, because I wanted to really lighten that up a little bit more. And then adding a little bit of blue, paying attention to my reference photo, of course. And then doing the same on the right side. So how I did the right side was exactly like how I did the left. So hopefully you'll see now a little bit more how I'm kind of plotting down where my pencils are going, where the circles are going, filling all that space in, and then blending it together. I also used a lot of umber for this part because I thought it was a really beautiful colour to use for the greeny kind of bokeh background. So as you can see now, just drawing out where all the circles are going to go and then filling in all that space. And this part definitely was quite scary for me, even though I've done it plenty of times before. I knew I just needed to trust the process. It was absolutely terrifying making such dark marks on the paper, because obviously they wouldn't rub out very easily, but I just trusted the process, blended them all together with water, and I was really happy with how it turned out. And it turned out exactly like it did on the left side, so I knew I didn't really need to worry at all. And hopefully you can see that I'm pushing the pigment ever so slightly into the white circles, but if I found that I've pushed the pigment a little bit too much, I wet the brush off, make sure it's nice and damp, and then I push from the inside out, if that makes sense. So I use the white paper and then push that into the pigment, so it kind of pushes the pigment away from the circle, if that makes sense, and it just creates a really nice soft edge. The size of the paintbrush that you use doesn't really matter too much. I like to use, I think it's a size 8, and it's a round brush by rowney. I like to dip it in the water and then take some excess water off so it's a little bit damp, and then use that to kind of blend the pigment together. If I'm covering a large area, I'll usually leave a little bit more water on the paintbrush than I would any other time, but I don't like it dripping wet because it just pushes the pigment around way too much and you don't get a really nice blended effect. So hopefully you can see how I'm kind of blending the areas together using a darker pencil like the chromium oxide, the dark olive. Sepia 50% is another really good one I like to use to kind of blend these lights into the darks, and then going over it again with the white pencil. So just using the white to kind of add a couple little more bokeh circles, as you can see, and again blending the circles that I've already made into the green. And this is mostly the process for the rest of the piece. As you can see, I'm adding a little bit of blue. I could have left more negative space on that area, but I pushed through it with the white pencil and it worked absolutely fine. And I'm really happy with how this background turned out. I hope you've liked it and I hope you found it useful. Please let me know if you create a similar background using this technique. I'd absolutely love to see it. I hope you like this painting. And yeah, thank you so much for watching.